Good morning, people. How are we? I'm sure we're live. Here we are. Alrighty then. Stop the share, turn on my video. How are we doing? Happy New Year. You can probably hear Cougar saying Happy New Year as well. I hope you are well. I hope you've had a beautiful holidays, whatever it is you celebrate over this time, whether that's Christmas, whether that's Hanukkah, whether you celebrate anything or not, whether you celebrate New Year or not. Hello. Happy holidays. And okay, so here we are live, guys. I'll just give you a little bit of time to jump in. If you do end up jumping in, I would just say g'day so that other people can find the algorithm as well, find the live. And hey, Cindy's watching. Hi, Cindy. How are you, my friend? It's been a while since we have spoken. So good to see you joining me. Okay. Um, hey, Danielle, how are you? And if anybody, I'm assuming that you're here because something might have slipped for you over the Christmas season or the holiday season. So that's what we're here to talk about today. You know, some very simple and easy steps. I've given you sort of 5 things to think about to get yourself back on track after the holiday period. The Christmas period, the New Year period, it's a very busy time for most of us, right? It's very, very easy to let healthy habits slip, right? It's a season full of food. Food is given to us as gifts, personal gifts, corporate gifts, team gifts at work. One of my clients said his all of his team gave him candy, basically candy chocolate for Christmas. So he had an office full of it. And most of my clients have said that there'd been some sort of temptation for them over that Christmas period, and certainly I know from spending time with my family, there was probably less temptation because we weren't giving each other food as gifts. But my dad loves to have big blocks of dark chocolate with peppermint. Whitaker's dark chocolate peppermint chocolate. It's like a treat for him every night. So that was there every night, and so that little temptation for us all is there. With sugary type foods, it seems to really explode at this time of year. Um, then you've got all the traditional dishes, and for many of you who might be very new to plant-based eating or trying to transition your diet, you've got the ham and the turkey and the pavlova or the whatever it is, the pies, at Christmas Day lunch. There's all the traditional foods that we've been used to eating, that we've grown up with, that can be a temptation for us as well. Alcohol, that's also, it's a party season. You've got Christmas parties, you've got, in the lead up to Christmas, then you've got Christmas Day celebrations, you've got New Year celebrations, you've got friends just wanting to catch up for drinks to celebrate the season as well. So, there's a lot of temptation. It's very easy to let a lot of stuff slide during this period. Then you've got all the shopping that you've got to get done as well. And that can be a bit of a manic rush out there in the shopping centres. It's one of the reasons why I do all my shopping online these days. 30 years in retail, and I'm a little allergic to malls these days. But yeah, it can be a very, very busy and hectic time with a lot of events. A lot of preparation, a lot of shopping, and it's very, very easy to let a lot of our just sort of everyday health habits slip, not just around our food, but around other healthy habits as well. And also when we get a taste for things like for sugar and things like that, we know it's so highly addictive. That it can be very, very easy just to keep going, just to slide back into those old habits, and it can be a struggle to get ourselves back on track. So that's why I would like to, excuse me, just give you some very, very simple tips to think about in order to help just ease yourself back into it at the new year, rather than thinking like, oh, stuffed up, I feel terrible, beat yourself up, and I've got to start all over again. We're never really starting again, right? I want you to just think that we're never really starting again. We're starting with more awareness. We're starting with learnings. We're starting with knowing what to do, or knowing what was working for us previously, or knowing where we were previously. We just need to get back to it, and that it's it's less about we've fallen off the wagon. It's just like, I'm just going to get myself back to what I know. I've allowed myself some freedom. I've allowed myself some wriggle room during this period, and now I'm just going to go back to who I was before, and that's okay. So let's dive into the tips. And guys, if you've got any questions about this, start thinking about them, and like just not jot them down in the comments. And as I see them, I'll start to address them, or I might address those at the end too. All right, so let's get on to the tips. Tip number 1, do not beat yourself up. This is so important. Love and compassion for yourself all the way. Right? Even if your holiday choices have left you feeling run down and feeling blur, and when we feel run down and blur, our mental health can start to slide as well. We start to beat ourselves up during that period. Even if you've put weight on over that period, if your goal is weight loss and you wanted to, your goal is to lose weight, even if you put weight on over that period, please don't beat yourself up, right? It's not something that can't be undone, right? Just please, first step is do not beat yourself up. We just want to be loving and kind to ourselves the whole way. Tip number 2 is to learn the lesson. Don't just brush off this period and try and forget that it ever happened, right? If you made some decisions that you're really not proud of, or that have left you feeling blur and you've put on weight, what we want to do is we actually just want to go back and have a look at what happened. You can ask yourself, okay, if I was to live this experience again, would I make the same decision? And it might be that you would, and that's okay, right? Sometimes we want to, let our standards slip a little and just have a little bit of fun, and that's okay, right? So, but you can just ask yourself, would I make that same decision again? And if your answer is no, then we just want to go and learn the lesson. So we want to understand what had us making a choice that was counter to our goals. Could it be that you just couldn't say no to a food because you just really wanted to taste it? You just could not say no because you just really wanted to have that food in your mouth, right? Did you eat something and then suddenly start developing cravings for more? So did you just have one little square of chocolate or one little piece of chocolate and suddenly like the whole packet's gone? Right? Is that what happened for you? Did you feel uncomfortable about saying no to other people when they either gave you food gifts, or when they offered you food, when they made food for you, when they put out the Christmas spread and you just couldn't say no? Did you say yes to yourself because you were afraid to say no to them? Did you feel the pressure to conform to what everybody else was eating in some way? Did you feel uncomfortable about not being part of some of the family traditions? Did you feel like you just needed or wanted to be part of that tradition? Did you not want to feel like you were missing out in some way if you didn't partake? So we just want to go back and understand how it was you were feeling at the time. Like, what was the emotion that you were feeling at the time that you made that decision? And then the reason that you made that decision is because you didn't want to feel some sort of uncomfortable emotion. And that's okay, right? Our brain does not like experiencing uncomfortable emotions. And so what we do is we take actions that help us avoid feeling that uncomfortable emotion. But when those decisions that we're making are counter to our goals, it can be harmful to us. And then we end up feeling uncomfortable anyway. We feel uncomfortable in how we feel about ourselves. We feel uncomfortable in our bodies. So we create discomfort anyway by choosing things that are counter to our goals. So if you are not happy with either how you handled the season, how you handled a situation, we just want to first come at it with love and compassion and then learn. And then what we want to do is just decide how you want to approach that situation differently in future. When we know the things that can trigger us, particularly if it's like other people's expectations, other people's criticisms of our way of living, if we know that this sort of thing triggers us and throws us off track, then what we want to do is we want to put some strategies around this. Put some strategies ahead of time to deal with these strategies when they come up. Don't expect that they're not going to come up. Decide ahead of time how you want to deal with that situation. All right. Please don't be saying you failed or you've stuffed up. You just want to take every moment as a learning opportunity. Every time we fail, every time we make a mistake, it's just literally highlighting something that we need to learn how to deal with. It's just an opportunity to learn and grow. All right. So we will not know how to deal with absolutely every situation in our life appropriately the very first time. We are going to stuff up. That's part of being a human being. We have to fail. We have to make mistakes in order to learn. So if you approach things from that perspective, then you can just learn the lesson rather than beating yourself up. Right? It's okay to fail a few times until we learn what actually works for us and then keeps us on track. So you must be open to learning that lesson and trying some new strategies to stay on track next time. It's okay. You must be open to learning how to fail a few times and going through this process and learning and fail and finding a new strategy that's eventually going to work for you. All right. So know that self-sabotage as well is completely normal. Right? I just want to pause here and say that self-sabotage, it's normal. It's a normal part of being a human being. Sometimes we purposefully take action against our goals. And there's reasons for this, all right? So let me know in the comments. Oh, Danielle, I saw your comment. You feel run down and blur. Yeah, I understand. I've definitely had New Year's feeling like that myself. But so let me know, any of you, if you're watching this, in the comments, if you struggle with self-sabotage yourself. Okay, this is actually something that I deep dive with my clients on. We talk about the recurring patterns of their self-sabotage and what lies behind it. What uncomfortable emotion is lying behind it? Usually it's a fear of something, a fear of feeling something, a fear of something happening as a result of us staying on track or making a decision that is for our goals. So we make decisions that are against our goals because we're scared of what might happen when we stick to our goals. And then what we do is we actually address that fear. We look at it. We look and see where it comes from. We look and see how they're creating that very result in their life that they're trying to avoid when they self-sabotage. So just like I said before, we might be avoiding feeling uncomfortable by saying no to people, but what we do is we feel uncomfortable anyway because we're saying no to ourselves. We're saying no to ourselves and we're making our body feel uncomfortable. With my clients, we come up with strategies to help them break down that fear, to help them see that it's not really real, and help them deal with that fear and help them take the steps forwards and be okay with feeling that fear, be okay with whatever comes up as a result of taking the steps towards themselves, so that they can bust this pattern of self-sabotage. They can get out of it instead of keep coming back to it. Because unless we address it and understand why it's there and what the real fear is, that pattern's going to keep recurring. All right. So if self-sabotage is something that you struggle with, then working with a coach, whether that's me or somebody else, is the best way to help you move past this. It is very, very, very hard to understand your own self-sabotaging behaviors. Well, it's very hard to break free from them, put it that way. You can understand, you can see that pattern yourself often, but you don't know how to break free of it. So working with somebody else who's not actually caught up in your emotion and your fear, right, can be the thing that helps you get past it and actually achieve your goals. And this is why This is why people who who do work with a coach on their weight loss, or any change that they want to make in their life, any goal that they want to achieve, this is why they often get to their results faster than if you're trying to do it on your own. So if you are someone who does self-sabotage and you would like some help with it, just leave a comment in the leave a note in the comments, just saying like, help or something like that. If you'd like to just have a chat with me about it, let's just get on a call and let's have a chat about it. All right. Okay, so let's go to tip number 3. So if you slid way off track and like let everything go, we just want to first decide what is an easy improvement for you and make it. All right. Oftentimes we think, oh my God, I fell so far off track, I've got to do a complete 180 and get straight back on. You know what? You don't actually have to do that. You just start with where you are now and just start making gradual improvements to get back there. It doesn't have to be all overnight. The brain doesn't like this all or nothing attitude. Sometimes gradual change will get you there faster. But let's just cover what I consider like the 6 things that you might want to look at in terms of healthy habits here. So these are kind of like just basic healthy habits. One is water. We want to be drinking at least 2 liters minimum a day, and actually 3 is often better for most people. But 2 liters is a minimum baseline. So if you let your water slide over the Christmas period, just take some steps to get yourself back to the minimum baseline of 2 liters per day. All right, that's going to help you feel better, faster, and then from there, when you've established that habit of 2 liters a day, then you can start inching your way up to 3 liters, and then make that a healthy habit as a daily habit for yourself. Sleep. Number 2 is sleep. Often in party season, we're not getting enough sleep. We're not sleeping during the normal sleeping hours. And we feel run down and tired as a result. So the minimum that we really need to get for the health of our body, for our body to go through the normal detox and repair cycle at night, is 7 hours. But it's not just 7 hours from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. It is 7 hours going down as the sun goes down. That's they say around 10 to 11 p.m. and then waking when the sun comes up, which is between about 5 to 7 a.m. So this aligns our body with the natural rhythms of the planet and the rising and the setting of the sun. Our body, our hormones, they all work in conjunction with that rising and setting of the sun. So if we can align our sleep patterns with the rising and setting of the sun, then our body internally, all of the rhythms, all of our organs work in rhythms too. Our hormones are all activated by sunlight in our eyes. So if you want your hormones to be working efficiently, you need to be getting sleep between those hours, 10 to 11, 5 to 7, waking up. You need to be getting 7 hours minimum of good, restful sleep. So if your sleep patterns fell off track during this period, first thing you want to do is get those back on track. All right, 7 hours minimum. We ideally we want 7 to 9, but 7 hours is minimum. Number 3, let's get on to the food side of things. Eat mostly green light foods. So if your diet fell off track during this period, as it does, and that's why our body feels like crap, just start focusing on increasing that green light proportion of your diet. And what do I mean by that? That's, fruits, veggies, whole grains, legumes. By the way, guys, if you don't have my whole food plant-based guide, which outlines these green light, red light, orange light foods, put your hand up and say whole food plant-based guide in the comments, and I'll shoot you a link for that. Oh, am I allowed to say that word shoot on Facebook? I got banned last time when I actually typed it out in a comment. Hope I don't get banned from going live this time. Anyway, so let me know that in the comments, and I will get you the guide. So if your diet fell way off track, all we want to do is just focus on increasing that green light portion. This is your whole plant foods. And then we want to look to decrease any of that red light portion. And the red light includes highly processed foods. It's highly processed sugars, it's white flours, it's white flour products, it's all the animal products, it's oils, it's anything that is damaging to our body, essentially, and very calorically dense. So we want to just focus on reducing that part of our diet and increasing the green light proportion. That in itself is going to make you feel amazing. All right. Um, okay. Health habit number 4 is movement. Right. This is so essential to our body, and I call it movement, not exercise. Moving our body is made to move, right? Many of us, we sit on our butts for 8 hours a day. That's me included, by the way, guys. I still sit for my job. And so we want to get back to a minimum daily movement routine. You want to create a minimum baseline for daily movement for yourself. Excuse me, and get back to it. For me, it's a 45-minute walk that I do. It's a loop around my neighborhood. It's about 45 minutes or so. I like to get out and do that, once a day at least. Starting from next week, I'm going to be doing it more like twice a week. Twice a day. So just decide what is going to be easy and doable for you, and create yourself a minimum daily routine. Movement is so good for the body. We're designed to move. When we don't move, we lose function in our body. Movement can help keep our muscles active, our bones active, and it helps produce serotonin. If you're outside in nature, then you're breathing fresh air as well. You're getting sunlight in some way, even if it's winter, even if it's cloudy, the sun can still, you're still getting the natural daylight rays. So get yourself a minimum baseline movement routine, and just get yourself back to it, even if it's just a half-hour walk, even if it's just a 15-minute walk, right? Just to get yourself doing something. When you are in the rhythm of making it a regular thing, then you can start challenging yourself to do more. So just quickly on that, one of my clients was probably doing, I think she was doing like about 2,000-3,000 steps per day initially, like late last year as we were working together. We caught up yesterday and she did 10,000 steps. I was so proud of her. She's been getting 7,500 steps as her average daily during the Christmas period. So she ramped up her movement. I'm so proud of her. So, okay, it just makes you feel so good. Okay, healthy habit number 5 is stress reduction. Oh, it's a stressful time of year, this isn't it? We're so busy, and then if we're not sleeping right, we're not eating right, we're letting our healthy habits slip. That impacts our stress levels, our ability to cope with stress, and our stress then impacts everything else that we do. When we're stressed, we tend to not make great decisions about our health. We don't sleep well. So it's this terrible cycle that all works together. So if you had some great stress reduction routines for yourself prior to Christmas that you let slip during that period, get yourself back into those. That can include things like your movement, right? Movement is great for stress reduction. It could be things like meditation, it could be journaling, it could be reading. It's just anything that you are doing that helps you just sort of quiet your mind and take your mind away from the to-do list, your struggles, all the bullshit that's going on in the world, right? It's just something that brings you back and focus and has you focused on you and more your body. When you bring your awareness back into your body, your brain just naturally starts to calm down. Also, these things help you breathe properly. Like when you're meditating, you're breathing deeply. When you're journaling, because you're sort of more peaceful, you tend to breathe deeper. When you're moving your body, you have to breathe deeper. So breathing deep helps to calm your nervous system. So being jacked up all the time affects so much internally in our body. In fact, one of my clients has been having terrible digestive problems, and we think it's not just food related, but we think it's actually stress related as well. So we're doing everything we can to really calm that nervous system. so that not only is she making better decisions for herself around her health, but she's also uh, settling down her digestive system. Okay, health habit number 5 is around reducing alcohol consumption. So yeah, it's a very alcoholic time of year, isn't it? And so if you don't want to cut it out completely, you can look at, okay, what are my priority times, right? Instead of like just relaxing in the evening with a drink every night. And I must admit, while I was over with the family, that's what we did. We just relaxed in the evening with a beverage or two, to sit down and socialize together. Um, and so as I get back over here, it's like, okay, now my consumption goes back to only specific times when I'm being sociable outside my home. And in fact, for the next 2 months, there's going to be none. So I'm going to challenge myself to do none. Okay, now, so if you did let a lot of your healthy habits slip, just focus on making improvements to get yourself back to what you consider your baseline, right? You don't have to adjust everything all at once, right? You can take it just working on one habit at a time if that feels more doable for you. Hey, Sandy. See you. Hey, Barbara. Good to see you. So, however, if you do work on all these habits, make it, shifting all of these little habits together, you are actually going to feel better quicker. So you'll get yourself back into a healthy routine and a healthy rhythm faster, and then you'll start feeling better faster. All right. So what you want to do, my advice is to create a minimum baseline for yourself around each of these healthy habits, and then over take your learnings from this year, and for next year or next time there might be an event where you are likely to fall off track again, whether that's Easter coming up, whether that's Thanksgiving next year, whatever it is, or even holiday, like US summer holiday time. Try and establish these minimum baseline healthy habits and keep them up during the next party or holiday season. All right, that's what I did this year. I kept up my daily green smoothie. I kept up my 2 liters minimum of water, and I kept up my daily walking routine. And I have to say that I am the most energized this year after this Christmas New Year period than I've ever been. I don't feel like I've hit that sort of like, I'm tired, I need to get back on track slump. It has really worked for me. It's been great. And, I would wake up every morning just feeling refreshed. My whole family were like tired. I could see they weren't drinking enough water. And it was very hot weather over there. It was beautiful weather. We were out doing things during the day, burning energy. And I could see everybody not drinking enough water and they were getting tired. So they were needing naps. Well, I'm like the Energizer Bunny. Excuse me. Every time we needed to go to the supermarket or I needed something from the supermarket, I wanted to walk. Everyone else wanted to jump in the car. I'm like, no, I want to go for a walk. I'm not jumping in a car. So that's like the level of energy that I felt versus everybody else. And yeah, being whole food plant-based as well. I kept up the whole food plant-based thing while away as well and just allowed myself a few tiny treats. And it really, really, really worked for me. Okay. All right. So we want to get on to tip number 4. Tip number 4. So we've talked about tip number 3 was all the healthy habits. Tip number 4 to getting back on track is about mindset again. I want you to think about not rather than what you think you're taking away from yourself this time. I want you to think of what you are adding, what you're giving to yourself. Think of it as a gift that you are giving to yourself. You are giving yourself the gift of whole plants, of more whole plants. You're giving yourself that gift of water and hydration. You're giving yourself the gift of sleep. You're not taking away your treats. You're not taking away something from your life. You are giving yourself this beautiful gift. You are giving yourself, your body, the gift of movement, right? You're giving yourself the gift of stress reduction techniques, right? So that's tip number 4. Think of it as a beautiful gift that you are giving yourself rather than, oh, I'm going to drag my ass back on track and take away all my treats. I'm not allowed those again, right? No, I'm going to give myself all this beautiful stuff. When you give yourself all this healthy stuff, the stuff that you want to try and reduce or move away from will just naturally start to reduce in your life. You just won't desire it anymore. So you want to just make sure you're focusing on adding rather than feeling like you're depriving and subtracting. All right. And then probably the most important, make sure that this is tip number 5, by the way. Probably the most important tip out of all of these is to make sure that everything you do from a place of self-love, right? You are doing this because you love and you care about yourself. You're not doing it because you're broken, because you need fixing, because you're a shit show, because you're hopeless, because you can't stay on track and you're never going to be successful. No, you're doing all of this because you really love and care about yourself. Right? When you take that attitude, making those changes becomes easy. It's not a struggle anymore. Like when we come at it from a place of, I did so badly, look at me, I'm a shit show. We struggle to get back on track with those healthy habits. But when we say, you know what, I'm worth it. My body deserves nourishing. I deserve to feel good. It's easy to get back on track. Right, and it's also easier not to fall off track when you have this attitude towards yourself as well. When you start to really love yourself, you just don't fall off track as much, right? So I really, really think this is probably one of the most important things. Love yourself, all right? Because I love you all right? Give me a high five. If none of you have read The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins, I suggest you do. Actually, I really suggest you do. If you're having trouble with self-love, self-worth, read The High Five Habit, because there is neuroscience that shows that this act of giving yourself a high five in the mirror will improve. It will actually change the neurochemistry in your brain and help you improve the relationship that you have with yourself. So go and read The High Five Habit. Sorry, you have to listen to it because it's only on Audible. Go and listen to The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins. She's awesome. I'm getting into her lately and her podcast. Okay, anyway, that is it. Do any of you have any questions? Oh, here's Barbara. Hello, Barbara. Do need to watch from the beginning. Yeah, sure thing, my friend. You do that. We'll be finishing up very shortly. Okay, so yeah, I figure if you're watching this video in some way, then you probably did slide away from your goals, and so look, you can get back on track on your own. You can. It's fine. Everybody can do anything they want to on their own, but it takes a lot of focus. It takes it takes having a level of discipline and desire to achieve the result in those early days. All right. You need to also be able to motivate yourself, and motivation is something that doesn't always last. It's emotion like any other emotion. Motivation comes and goes. One day we can be happy and joyous and woo, and the next day we can be like, ooh, down in the dumps or angry. Emotions come and go. It's part of being a human being, and motivation is just one of those emotions. All right. Also, doing things yourself, it takes being able to see your own bullshit, right? Your own limiting beliefs, your excuses, and it also means you need to own them, right? And when you own them, then you can decide not to let them stand in your way anymore. But you need to be able to see them, and most of the time we cannot see our own bullshit. We can't see our own limiting beliefs that we have about our abilities, right? Doing this on your own as well also means, you need to be able to shift your relationship with yourself. Hey, it took me 10 plus years to shift the relationship that I had with myself, right? Before I could do that. Like, do you want to wait 10 years and do it on your own? It takes a long time to shift your relationship with your food. It takes a long time to stop beating yourself up Well, it can. You can also decide in a freaking moment that you want to do this, but most of us don't because change is hard and change is scary, and we don't like to do it. We are hardwired to not change. Our primitive brain does not want us to change. All right. So if you're struggling with change, this is why, and it's okay. It's normal. It's human. But you can also decide that you're worthy of asking for help. Right. You can decide that fuck it. I've been trying this on my own for so long. I need some damn help. And if that is you, right? If you do want some help, I'm here to help you. You can either talk to me or there's many other people out there, experts in the space who can help you too. Excuse me. Um, allergies allergies seem to be on a high today. Um, so when you ask for help, here's what happens: is that you have a simple process that you can follow, and a process that has been shown to work because other people have had results from it. You have help to see your blind spots, the things about you, your thoughts, your beliefs, all that sort of stuff that you can't spot yourself just because you think that they're so true. We all think that what we believe is true, and when in most cases it's just how we think and how we've been conditioned to think. All right. So when you work with someone, you actually have someone who can help you spot how you're thinking may be off track and leading you off track and can help you course correct. All right. And you've got someone as well who is like your buddy, your partner in crime, your partner in achieving success, who can help you come up with strategies to deal with the situations and the challenges that are going to come across, in your path as you try to make change in your life. All right. So if that is you, if you really are struggling to achieve, whether it's a transition to plant-based eating, whether it's struggling to meet your health goals, struggling to achieve your weight loss goals, please don't sit there and try and spend more time just trying to figure this out on your own. You can ask for help. It's okay. That's what successful people do. So I invite you, if you would like to even just have a one-on-one call with me and just see, let's just have a chat about what it is you really are struggling with and see if I can help you with a strategy to move past it. See if I can help you spot where you might be dragging yourself off track, or where, how you might be thinking that is limiting what you think you can do. Let's just jump on a call and see if I can help you with that. So drop me a note below, if you would like to jump on a call. Maybe just write the word call below, and I'll reach out to you, and we can at least just have a chat first and make a time in the diary to see what works for both of us. So that's it for now, guys. If you don't have any more questions, I'll just flick through the comments here. Yeah, Danielle, it's like I can never make a decision and just stick with it. Yeah, so there's something blocking your way here, Danielle. There's something standing in your way of you being able to make that commitment to yourself, and there will be some underlying fear that is probably legit in some way, and probably probably bullshit in some way. There's probably something that you are worried about leaving behind, or something that you're worried about facing if you make change. So working with someone, we can work through that. We can start to identify what that is and start putting some strategies around it, helping you break down that fear to see that it's not really a fear. It's like just a worry. It's just a worry that may never happen. And you know what? Even if it does happen, you're still going to be okay, right? So, my friends, if you would like to jump on a call and talk about getting some help, or even just working through a solution, just write the word call in the comments and I will reach out to you. Otherwise, my friends, it's been beautiful coming back here. Next week, I'm going to be interviewing one of my amazing clients, Tammy. So look out for the event that comes up. Tammy's weight loss has looked like an EKG chart, right? So for any of you who might be going up and down on the scale like this, I want to assure you that you too can achieve your results. And hers has been like an EKG chart, but it's been on a steady decline. So that scale on a week-to-week basis going up and down does not need to mean that you will not be successful. because I want to show you somebody who has been successful even with those sorts of results. So my friends, look out for that next week and I'll see you then. Okay, ciao for now.